Everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here. And if you're like me, you're worried about what's going to be going on with the five buck tournament 2026. We're hearing a lot about it, but I'm curious as to what's going to be happening from a hotel development perspective. But before we get into that, I want to thank our friends over at Actabl. Actabl, they give you the power to profit. Check them out at actabl.com. You're going to save money on labor by checking out these guys. And if you want to save anything like the pain, the heartache of not knowing what's going on with the construction pipeline as regarding to FIFA, well, we got wonderful Bruce Ford with me. And I got a FIFA graphic here that I'm too fat and I'm blocking it. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Glenn. I enjoyed some football last weekend, and we're excited to have the World Cup in the U.S. and Mexico and Canada for the first time since '94. It's been
Right.
quite a while.
Right.
And this is also the first time that they're going to do a 48-team tournament versus a 32-team tournament.
That's pretty serious.
And as you know, when you're the host country, you automatically qualify.
Well, thank goodness we're going to qualify then this year. So that's a nice change of pace.
So
So
we get the US, we get Canada, and Mexico are all automatic qualifiers.
do they all play each other to see who loses quickest?
No, actually, they all hosted this. So they've already had the draw to put
Right.
everybody into slots, if you
Mhm.
will. And the US, Canada, and Mexico are, quote, group captains.
Right.
So they were the top 5 countries plus the US, Canada, and Mexico. So you have 8 groups of it's actually 10 groups of 12 groups of 12 groups of 4. Yeah, and I'm gonna get this. It's an expanded tournament. It used to be
Big. I'm gonna edit that out because I'm a human. We all are. But Bruce, so I was in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually doing a sports-focused panel, right, about how it's driving engagement and stuff. And I asked Walt Eisenberg, the co-founder and industry icon from Sage Hospitality. I said, "Bro," I said, "one thing I've never understood in my career is why do you build a hotel for the Olympics or football, for the Super Bowl or one of these other things? Because it seems to me the second the event is over, you've lost your demand driver." He agreed with me, and I felt pretty darn good about myself because I never understood it. And I think we're going to get to the bottom of some of this today, aren't we?
Well, in many cases, the development of these what we'll call sporting hotels,
Yeah.
okay, uh, it's not a 7-day-a-week demand kind of generator, but you have to have other things going on around it. Like in using Gillette Stadium in Foxborough.
Right.
So Foxborough is halfway between Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston, Massachusetts. Each is about 30 miles in either direction. So at Gillette Stadium, they have a whole Patriot Place. They have the Patriots Pro Football Hall of Fame. They have a Showcase Cinema. They have Showcase Live. They have 200 retail outlets, a bunch of restaurants.
Yep.
They have 2 hotels.
Yeah, this makes sense. And funny thing, Bruce, the panel that we were talking that I was on at the Inspire Luxury event in Las Vegas, we talked about this turning empty parking lots into places of experiences that can generate income.
Yeah. They do it in Dallas too. So in Dallas, they have Globe Life Stadium, which is the baseball stadium for the
Right.
Texas Rangers. They have the old Texas Rangers baseball stadium, which they use for college and high school games. Then they have Texas Live, which is kind of the entertainment complex, couple of very big hotels, convention style hotels, and then you go underneath the highway and across the street, and there's AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play.
Yeah, fantastic. And no vacancy fans out there. It looks like in February, I'm going to be going to check out the construction of OC5, a project like this in Anaheim. Bruce.
Yep.
Pipeline, baby.
Pipeline. So
First
we're
thing
talking all of the
Going on here in the United States, just Toronto, Mexico. I mean,
So the first page is the international locations outside of the US. So we have Guadalajara and Monterrey, Mexico, as well as Mexico City with the Stadium Azteca, and then Vancouver and Toronto. So this shows the total new construction pipeline of projects that are actively being pursued out there today, what is scheduled to open between now and the World Cup. and then what conversions and renovations are actively being pursued right now with intention to open before the World Cup. So there's a lot of activity. What's unique about a an event like the World Cup is that you have really kind of three components. You have the customers and or the ticket holders.
Mhm.
You have the volunteers that run the stadiums, that run the concessions, and then you have the FIFA staff and the country staff of everybody else. Okay, so you have really three big piles of demand, and I can tell you, the teams might stay in a hotel,
Right.
but much of their support staff and much of their stadium staff and much of the um, other support team, they stay in colleges in many
Oh,
cases. So,
interesting. Dorms. Interesting.
yes,
That's
because it's that time of year. The
yeah.
colleges are all done. They get a couple weeks to clean it all up, and then they welcome much of their staff because they don't play games every day in the World Cup. They play a
Right.
couple days a week,
Mhm.
okay? But people aren't leaving and coming back.
Right, of course.
They're staying,
Mhm.
okay? So a college dorm campus makes a lot of sense. And also they have practice facilities there for the
Yeah.
teams, okay? And it's less expensive, okay, than it is staying in downtown Boston and busing out to Waltham every day to go practice. No, let's just stay at the college.
Right.
So, and we'll go to a hotel for the day before the game, if you will, so that we're close. So I think that setup is common in a lot of places, but the hotels are for the fans. Okay, so in many cases, we're seeing higher end, full service hotels, lots of convention space, built in these complexes, if you will, and they're really just refitting and resetting and redoing. I mean, Azteca is a 75-year-old stadium. I mean, it needs they put in a ton of money into renovating the stadium in addition to preparing all the plazas and things around it for this event. And that's happening in a lot of places. BC in British Columbia, in Vancouver is right in downtown. It's a beautiful spot. Building up some more hotels there. They've been building hotels there for a couple years.
Right.
And then in Toronto, they've really had a renaissance of development downtown.
Seems like
Uh,
it.
and that,
Especially 'cause only 7 are opening in '26 and there's so many projects in the pipeline.
yes, and so they are ramping up to continue to develop properties in and around. And every one of these locations is 20 miles around the stadium location
Right.
as we're considering what the pipeline is.
Alright, so what about here in the United States? Oh, well, Dallas again, which we talked on about last week's show. Predominantly, that market is expanding, so you could absorb a lot more of that hotel stuff. And my guess is a lot of folks are building hotels and opening them in time for this, but not dependent on that business for the long term viability.
You have a big new phase of Texas Live that's scheduled to open um,
Mhm.
before the World Cup kicks off. But of course, they continue to expand there. They built the new dome stadium there. Eventually, they will knock down the old Texas
Yeah.
baseball stadium and build another large hotel there too.
Oh, that's
So, so Dallas has got quite a bit of activity. It's one of the highest investment markets in the United States. The LA Coliseum, they were formerly going to do the SoFi Stadium, but SoFi said we're not pulling the turf to put grass in,
mhm.
so we're not hosting.
Right.
So they're out at the USC Coliseum, and as I have heard it, okay, spring games are all USC can't use the stadium from now on. Okay,
Wow.
in advance of the World Cup matches. And then we're also playing at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So some of that might cross over a little bit because those aren't terribly far apart.
Yeah.
But in Houston, we've opened a ton of hotels there, lots of renovation in Houston. And again in San Francisco, which is really Santa Clara.
Mhm.
Again, lots of renovation there because that stadium's been open for 7 or 8 years up there, and so they continue to go through that first big phase of renovation. So again, all of these are actual project records in our database, researched by our research team. If you're interested in knowing any details about these projects, we certainly have them and they are available.
Well, what about these on the East Coast, buddy?
Yeah, the East Coast is the coast. Coast is the best. So in Miami, okay, again, they run the F1 around the stadium, which is it Sun Life Stadium in Miami? I think that's what it is. Anyway, oh no, Hard Rock Stadium. So Hard Rock Stadium, they run the F1 around there. They've been ton of development down in South Beach in Miami.
Mhm.
It's probably one of those other markets like Orlando where leisure leads the convention business, if you will. So a few days of leisure and a few days of convention.
Yep.
Very active, very busy marketplace. New York, New Jersey, they can always build better hotels there in and around MetLife Stadium. So we see some coming. I know that our friend producer Dave is not excited about the 39 renovations and conversions that are happening out there. He says it's not me, and so we feel for him.
For those of you who don't know, producer Dave is GM of a very large hotel out in that area. Yeah.
And then the Atlanta Stadium is right downtown at the Georgia World Congress Center. A note that they built the first Hilton Signia right there that opened within the last 12 months. That's
I'll be staying there in March.
looking forward to
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well. So a very big hotel there, but also several going on around smaller properties kind of thing, but also a ton of renovation and conversion, walkable situation there in Kansas City, new properties again, but a lot of select service, just 100 rooms a hotel. But some of the bigger properties, we get up to 200 or 180 keys of renovation and conversion. And then in Philly, again, lots of renovations and conversions. So in the US, with a very developed cities, with
Right.
very developed locations, these stadiums have been there for a long time. It's just really trying to spruce up the hotels so they can get to 8, 9, or $1,000 a night.
Yeah, and
$1,000 a night.
I know they'll it might very well.
It happens.
Yeah.
And you know what? Well, Mr. Eisenberg says, I don't understand why you would build a hotel there. I said, well, I don't know. You triple the room rate for a couple times.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing. I mean, people, you always remember the first time you were in a hotel with a friend and they look at the door and they go, what do you mean you could charge $2,900 a night? I say,
Yeah.
well, this is going to be the time.
Yeah.
When you're gonna charge
That is true. And while you
$2,900.
guys are dealing with this, probably give along some great advice on how to leverage these market conditions. And I'm gonna suggest talk to Brucey. How do we find you, Bruce?
We talk about markets all the time. We have the details on any cities that you're looking at. If you're looking for those 2026 opportunities in these World Cup cities, we have that available. LodgingEconometrics.com. Please feel free to send me an email, Bruce at LodgingEconometrics.com. And of course, visit our friend Glenn at No Vacancy News for some great content.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And happy holidays, everybody out there. I think, Bruce, this might be the last piece of original content I'm running in 2025. So very exciting stuff.
Happy anniversary, Glenn.
Oh yeah, I got 10 years, 10th anniversary of No Vacancy coming up. Top of the year. We'll see you there. Until then, please like, share, subscribe this video and all that kind of good stuff. Show BF a little bit of love. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye, everybody.